In the heart of a vast African savanna, where the tall golden grasses swayed with the whispers of the wind and the acacia trees stretched their thorny arms toward the blazing sun, there lived a mighty lion named Leo, ruler of the jungle and feared by all creatures who dwelled within its bounds. His mane glistened like fire under the sun. His roar thundered across the plains, and his strength was unmatched, so much so that even the proud elephants stepped aside when he walked. Yet despite his power and authority, fate had destined him to learn a lesson from the smallest of beings. One sweltering afternoon, after a satisfying hunt, Leo lay dozing in the shade of a great tree, his belly full and his eyes heavy with slumber, while the buzzing of insects lulled him into a deep nap, and at that very moment, a tiny mouse named Milo scurried out of his burrow in search of food, his whiskers twitching and his nose pressed to the ground as he sniffed for seeds. Unaware of where his little feet were taking him, Milo ran across the soft fur of the sleeping lion, darting this way and that in his excitement, until suddenly Leo stirred, growled, and with a swift, mighty paw, trapped the mouse beneath his claws, his golden eyes flashing with annoyance as he snarled, "How dare you disturb my rest, little creature? Do you not know that I am the king of beasts? I could crush you in an instant." Trembling with fear, Milo squeaked, "Forgive me, great king, for I meant no harm. I was only searching for food and did not realize I had crossed your path. Please, mighty lion, spare my life, and I promise that someday I shall repay your kindness." At these words, Leo let out a booming laugh that shook the branches above. "Repay me? You, a puny mouse barely larger than my claw, speaking of helping me, the king? That is the most amusing thing I have ever heard." Yet as he laughed, his heart softened, for he saw the mouse's courage in speaking despite his fear, and with a shake of his mighty mane, he lifted his paw and let Milo go free, saying, "Run along, little one. Your promise is as small as you are, but I will spare your life today." Milo bowed low and scampered away, whispering to himself, "One day perhaps I shall prove that even the smallest creature can be of service." Days turned into weeks, and Leo continued his life as ruler of the jungle, patrolling his territory, hunting gazelles and resting under the shade of trees, until one fateful morning, as the sun rose in a red blaze, Leo ventured into a part of the forest he seldom visited, where hunters had laid their traps. Lured by the scent of fresh meat, he did not notice the thick ropes hidden beneath the grass until it was too late, and with a sudden snap, the net closed around him, tightening with every movement, pinning his mighty body to the ground, and no matter how he roared, twisted, or clawed, the ropes dug deeper, leaving him helpless and enraged. His roars echoed across the savanna, frightening birds into the sky and sending smaller animals fleeing, but no one dared come near, for they feared the hunter's presence. Hours passed, the blazing sun scorched his back, and the mighty king, who once ruled with pride, now lay bound and exhausted, his hope fading as the shadows grew longer. It was then that Milo, the very same mouse whom Leo had spared, heard the distant cries and followed them through the tall grass until he stumbled upon the trapped lion. At first, his tiny heart quivered with fear at the sight of the great beast snarling in rage. But then he remembered his promise and knew this was the moment to prove his worth. Gathering all his courage, Milo climbed onto the ropes and began gnawing with his sharp little teeth, biting again and again, ignoring the sting in his jaw, the dryness of his throat, and the sweat matting his fur. Bit by bit, strand by strand, the ropes began to fray, while Leo watched in disbelief, his eyes softening as he realized the mouse was indeed helping him. Time passed slowly. The sun dipped lower, and Milo's teeth worked tirelessly until at last the ropes snapped, one after another, and with a mighty shake, Leo burst free, his golden mane flying in the wind as he stood tall once more. He looked down at the tiny mouse, who now panted with exhaustion, his whiskers trembling from effort, and with a voice filled not with pride but with gratitude, Leo said, "Little friend, today you have saved my life. I mocked you once, but now I see the truth. Even the smallest among us can do great deeds." Milo bowed humbly, replying, "It was your mercy that gave me the chance, and today I repaid it." From that day onward, the bond between Leo and Milo grew strong, for the king of beasts and the smallest of creatures became unlikely friends, teaching the jungle that kindness given, no matter how small, returns in ways we cannot imagine. The story spread across the plains, told by animals and even whispered by the winds, reminding all that strength is not measured by size, but by the heart's ability to give and receive kindness. And so, dear listener, the tale of the lion and the mouse is not merely about a beast spared or a trap escaped, but about the eternal truth that compassion never goes unrewarded, that pride humbles itself before kindness, and that in the vast web of life, every creature, great or small, holds a purpose, proving once more the timeless moral: small acts of kindness bring great rewards.